Hello, hello, Seek Academy. It is time for our quarter 1 celebration. We want to celebrate you guys because all of quarter 1, you guys have worked extremely hard to meet your goals. And now it's time to celebrate you. Say, I did that. All right, Seek. Well, as you know, it's Miss Autry, but you can't see me right now. However, I have someone special for you to meet, and it's my character, Picasso Autry. Say hey, Picasso Autry. She's going to be here to help us and guide us as we draw and paint our picture. All right, as you guys know, we are in the season fall. And what better way to celebrate fall than to draw and paint a pumpkin? Here is a picture of what you guys will be drawing. And if we have time at the end, we can decorate around our pumpkin with some leaves. But right now, we're just going to focus on drawing and painting our pumpkin. And I'm going to leave Picasso Autry right here on the side so she can guide us the whole way through. All right, I hope you guys are ready. Miss Luther's already announced you guys are going to need your cups of water because we're going to use 2 colors. You're also going to need your yellow paper. You're going to need a pencil, or if your teachers gave you a marker, that's fine too. All right, I'll give you guys a few seconds to get your materials together and ready so that we can start. Remember, teachers, you guys can also pause the video if scholars need to repeat a step or miss a step. You can also rewind. Remember, we're live, but we can also rewind. All right, friends, we're going to get started. Who's ready to make a pumpkin? I hope you are. Okay, so first, I'm going to use a marker so that you guys can see. I'm not going to use a pencil because I'm not sure how dark it will be, and I want you guys to see. If you guys are using a pencil, that is absolutely fine. First, we are going to start right kind of not in the middle, but a little close to the edge of the paper. You don't want to start too close to the edge because we're going to loop around in a curve to make our pumpkin. And if you're too close to the edge of the paper, you won't be able to loop around. You're going to make a straight line instead of a curved line. So look where I'm starting. I'm going to start here. And I'm going to start with a U shape. Go ahead and make your first U. After you make this U, we're going to go in waves. We're going to make 2 more U's that's connected. Wave, wave. And we're going to stop right there. It should look like a funny looking W. Now we are going to curve up. This part gets a little tricky, so watch me. I'm going to do one side first. You're not going to go up straight because that's going to be a funny looking pumpkin. You're going to curve as if you're making a circle, but we're not going to close that circle. We're going to stop midway. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Curve up and stop. Now I should have an open top. Then I'm going to curve going down. I'm going to make one curve down, bring it up, and another curve to connect. And there I have the shape of my pumpkin. Now, as we know, all pumpkins have stems. So it's time to make our stem. First, we are going to make one short curved line that looks like that. Then, right on the side of it, not too close, but not too far as well, you're going to make another curved line, but this one comes out a little further. It's a little longer than the first curved line. Turn and tell your partner, what do you think you're going to do next to complete this stem? Yeah, if you said that we have to connect it, you are absolutely correct. But we're not going to connect it with the straight line. You're going to curve that line to connect this stem. Just like that. And there I have me a stem. Now, if you want to add vines like the first picture I showed you had, you can. If you would rather your pumpkin be simple, you can leave it simple too. You don't have to add the vines. I'm going to go ahead and add some vines. Vines look like squiggly lines. So I'm just going to add some squiggles here at the top. And remember, when you do that, you can say loop-de-loop. And then I'm going to add another vine and loop, 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 loop. I'll stop here. I'll add 2 more vines here. Loop, 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 loop. This one is coming down. And maybe I'll do one here coming over. Loop, 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 loop. We'll bring it here. It's okay if your vines intertwine. That means meet. That's okay, because vines are so funny looking on pumpkins anyway. If you want to add more, you definitely can. All right. Now, in order to make this look like a complete pumpkin, we have to draw some lines on the inside. These lines are not going to be straight lines. They're also going to curve. One easy way to do that is look at the points on the inside and curve and make them connect. I'm going to curve this line and have it come down, and curve this line and have it come down. And there I have my pumpkin. Now it is time to paint. This part is going to take some time because we already drew what we wanted, but now we have to paint around it. So we are going to start off with our orange paint. Now, I just want to say, you don't need to scoop a lot of orange paint because we want to make sure that we're staying neat. We want to make sure that we're staying in our lines. And we also want to make sure that we don't use too much so that it dries quickly. When we use too much paint, it won't dry as quickly and we end up leaving with wet art. And we don't want that. Here's an example of what my paint looks like right now. And I'm just going to go ahead and dab a little orange. As you can see, I didn't use too much. I'm going to dab some in the front, and I'm going to dab some in the back. Now, I also know that you guys are working together in a group and sharing a plate of paint. So make sure you're using kind words like, you can go next. Oh, do you need help? I want to make sure I'm hearing that in your classrooms. Now it's time to paint. We are going to go in an up-down motion. Up and down. Up and down. And you can dip for more. Notice I'm not dipping and scooping a whole lot. Up and down. Up and down. Now, I'm going to try to get the edges. And when I do the edges, I'm going to use the tip of my paintbrush. So when you dip, I want you guys to dip the tip like this. And I'm going to stand my paintbrush up and paint like this to make sure I'm staying neat and I'm in the lines. Picasso Autry, how do you think we're doing? Oh, she thinks we're doing great. All right, I'm getting my edges. I'm remembering to not use so much paint. Let me bring it down and curve around. And when I get back to the middle, I'm going to go up and down. Up and down. All right, I need to get the edges again. Remember, when I'm getting the edges, I want to stay super neat and in the lines. I'm dipping a little and I'm using the tip. Notice how I still have so much orange. I didn't use a lot. Make sure you guys are also doing the same. I'm going to paint these edges so that I don't see any yellow. Oh, I agree, Picasso Autry. Picasso Autry said, this yellow really makes the pumpkin pop. Sure does. Sure does. I agree. Such nice fall colors. All right, I got my first side done. How are you guys doing? If you're not done yet, that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and move to the middle. Watch how I dip. Not using too much. I still have the same blob of paint. I did not add any more paint. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Oh, Picasso Autry has a message for you guys. She says that she already hears kind words in the classroom. Way to go, guys. Being kind to your classmates. I'm going to take a little more paint. All right. Remember, I'm going in an up-down motion. Up and down. All right. It's time for these corners again. I want to make sure I'm being neat. Remember, I'm using the tip of my brush like this. The tip. I'm going to stand it up and go up and down like this. This part gets a little tricky because I want to make sure I'm not covering my lines. And if you do, that's okay too. Once it dries, you'll still be able to see it. Especially if you're not using too much paint. If you're not using too much, you'll definitely be able to see it. I'm at the bottom right now. I have to make sure I'm going around in curves. I'm being careful. I'm moving slow so that this is neat. All right. And I'm done with my middle. I wonder how you guys are doing. Now I'm going to go to the last part. The last part of my pumpkin. Remember, I'm going up and down, up and down. Up and down. All right, until I get majority of it painted. All right, now I'm going to need the tip of my brush again. It's time to catch those corners. How we doing, Picasso Autry? Great so far. Thank you so much for your help. Let's get that top. I'm making sure that I'm moving slow. I'm not rushing. I'm taking my time so that this is nice and neat. And I'm also not making a mess in my classroom. All right. Remember, I'm using the tip of my brush to get these corners. And I'm almost done. And look how much paint I still have. Still have lots of paint. And my paint was the size of a quarter. All right, I'm going to get these last corners. There we go. And if there's still a little more paint that you guys want to use up, if you're done, you can go ahead and start going over the paint that's already dry to add a second coat. It's called adding a second coat. This just makes it a little darker. So I don't want to waste this paint, so I'm just going to go ahead and use up the rest of what's left to add a second coat. Make my pumpkin just a little darker. Tad bit darker. All right. And there we have it. Majority of my pumpkin is pretty much done. Wow. This next part, you guys are really going to have to do a great job sharing and taking turns to make sure that we are not making a mess. Picasso Autry says, this next part, you're going to need to dip your brush into water to clean off the orange that we just used. So you guys can go ahead and take turns. And when you dip your brush into the water, make sure you're swirling that paintbrush into the water to make sure that all of the orange comes off. I wonder who's taking turns using that water cup to make sure that they are getting all of that orange paint off, because it's time for us to switch colors. All right, I'm just giving you guys a moment to go ahead and clean those paintbrushes off so that we can switch colors. This next part is green, and we obviously do not need that much green. We're just going to do the vines and the stem. And if you guys want to add leaves, you definitely can at the end if we have time. All right. Now you should have some green paint. I don't even need this much because we're not even going to use a lot. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to dip from front to back. And when you use this green paint, we're going to start with the stem. Now the stem is pretty small, so we have to make sure we're being careful. And we're just going to start off going side to side. We're not going up and down like we did the pumpkin. We're just going to go side to side. It's easier that way because the stem is pretty small. Side to side. I'm going to be careful with the corners to make sure that I'm staying in my lines. Side to side. And then when I get to the bottom, I can go up and down. I can go up and down like that. Up, 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 up. Down this way. And there I have my stem. If you want to make it a little darker, just give it some time to dry. If you didn't use that much paint, it will dry fast. If you did use a lot of paint, it's going to take some time to dry. Remember, the less paint, the better. Now, for the vines. If you have vines. If you chose not to do vines, that's okay too. Every pumpkin doesn't have vines. You are going to need the tip of your brush that looks like this. You're going to dip it. And we're pretty much just going to trace around the vines. This green is to just make it pop. We're going to trace around the vines, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to go up and trace. And when I get to my loop-de-loop, I'm actually just going to color it in. And then just go around loop-de-loop. I'm just going to color it in. This green is just to make it pop. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, paint is not a marker, so it doesn't, or a pencil. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just outlining around it. The loop-de-loop, I'm coloring it in. Around, color it in. It's also easy if you use the tip of your brush. If you use the tip of your brush like this, the tip, to go around. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my vines. I don't know how many vines you guys added, or if you didn't add at all, but go ahead and start painting those vines if you have them. Color it in. Around. Color it in. And around. Ooh, way to make it pop. I'm loving this green and yellow, Picasso Autry. Good choice. This was her choice, by the way, guys. Around. Notice I'm just using a little. I'm not using a lot. If I use a lot, then it looks crazy. And I don't want my painting to look crazy. Around, color it in. Color it in. Loop-de-loop around. And color it in. There we go. Color it in. And let's do this one. Hope you guys are doing great. Picasso Autry says she hears sharing and kind words. Way to go. All right. And there I have my vines. I'm just going to go ahead, now that my stem is dry, I'm going to go ahead and paint it over. I'm going to add a second. I wonder if you guys remember that word that I taught you. Tell your friend if you remember. Yep, a second coat. I want to make it a little darker. Just a little darker. So I'm just going to go over it with a second coat. Some of you can add a third coat if you want. You just have to wait for this one to dry. If you really want to make it darker. I'm fine with mine like this. I like this color. This is good enough for me. And there you have your pumpkin with vines, if you added vines. Remember, at the bottom, if you want to add leaves, you can. If you don't know how to draw a leaf, here's a simple way to draw a leaf. You can go like this. And add the stem at the bottom. Like this. Add your stem at the bottom. Make it a little bigger if you want. And add. And you can do it different ways. And you can add as many as you want. You can make them as big as you want and as small as you want. And of course, add your line in the middle. Some leaves you can add little lines like this. If you want it to pop, you can go like that. Your choice. Or you can leave the line in the middle. They all don't have to be like this. Your choice on how you want to draw your leaf. Nice. And if you wanted to add leaves, one thing that I like to do is paint them. I'm going to go ahead and paint my leaves green. I'm not going to use too much because this, you can do a little differently. You can dab. You can go like this. Dab, 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 dab. So I'm not going up and down. I'm not going side to side. I'm just blotting. Say blot. Blot. You can just blot. And it gives it a different look. Blot. Blot. Wow. Blot. If you want some orange leaves, that's fine too. We know leaves change colors in the fall. They're not always green. So if you want to add some orange leaves at the bottom, go right on ahead. I'll show you an example. Remember, don't use too much. Blot. 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 I'm adding some more orange pieces. Blot. And there you have a fall painting. If you want to add more leaves across the side, you definitely can. You definitely can. A pumpkin and leaves, that's fine too. You can add your leaves along the side to decorate your paper. And here is our painting. Oh, I forgot one leaf. Let's do this one orange. Have lots of green ones. There we go. And there's your fall painting. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember, if you're not done, your teacher can rewind. If you're not done, it's totally fine. And you guys have the option to add more leaves or add more things around your pumpkin that you wish to add. You guys did an amazing job, and I hope that you enjoyed your Q1 celebration. How do you think we did, Picasso Autry? Oh, she says we did a great job. She's a painter. Say, see you later, Picasso Autry. See you later, Seek Academy. Great job.